taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to take a look at two replays. The first replay we're looking at is in the Admiral Hipper. Yes, my love of the Admiral Hipper continues. Man, this is a great ship. So you can see that obviously we have 3 cap zones that we are going to need to cap here in this battle. And I'm just, again, as usual, taking a look around, seeing what the team does now. My preference in this situation is to go C and B, and that is what I hope my team is going to do. And you can see, I am starting to head towards the northeast, right, over there, and hoping that the team follows, at least the majority of the team, right? Nothing wrong with maybe a destroyer or two going down there to A, but just in this sort of spawning situation where the ships are located, I think C and B is just the best place to go, and it does look like that is what some of the team is going to decide to do. Now, keep in mind at these early stages of the battle as well, right? You don't want to be too thick-headed. If you do want to go in a certain direction and you notice that majority of your team is not going in that direction, or that you just don't have the support that you're going to need in order to, to do the plan that you wanted, you really do need to turn around and get back with the team, right? Things you never know. Something could happen and the team could actually win by going in that direction that maybe you didn't actually want to go in. So something to keep in mind. Now, I am kind of eyeing down B, right? Because I do want to be able to take some shots off at destroyers as I was crossing in front of B there, and you can kind of see it. Now, you will notice a little bit of jiggity jank here in the video as well. I played our second video I played today, and it seems a whole lot better. I think last time I had mentioned it on the channel, I was stuck on, maybe it was my internet. No, it's not my internet. I think it was the game itself, something to do with maybe a patch or an update recently. But it does seem to be corrected, at least sort of, so that is good. Excellent, because it was really making me angry, actually. I really don't like playing any sort of game with any sort of lag. It just aggravates the hell out of me. But anyway, moving over into C as well, right? Getting closer. We do see that there is obviously some enemy ships down there at A because they are capping A. We do have an enemy destroyer in B. We caught a glimpse there. The enemy destroyer is once again. So we know that the enemy team is about, right? We know that they are going to probably try and take A and B. So obviously our fight is going to come down to B. Now we do also see enemy ships up here at C. So we're going to need to do something about these enemy ships. I'm going to have to get myself into position here. I launch off my fighter plane because you do see that there are enemy planes in the air as well. So we're going to need to spot down this enemy ship, hopefully take out the enemy ship. It's most likely a destroyer, and yes, in fact it is. So you can see I've switched over to high explosive to deal with this enemy destroyer here. So just eyeing down the target, right? We're going to see what we can do about this guy. Fire off a few shots because they will go over the mountain, and we do end up getting a few hits there, so that's not too bad. Now it's an enemy Fletcher, so tier 9 destroyer, so this destroyer is a pretty big threat, but you do notice that a lot of my team is on this enemy destroyer, right? Specifically my aircraft carriers, or at least one of them anyway. I'm not sure if both are here, but doing a nice job on this destroyer anyway, right? We can see that the Fletcher kind of looks like he has to reconsider what, the cap here on C. We just got a big hit there on the Fletcher. One of my ally ships did, that is. And the Fletcher is almost gone. Just a few more hits and this guy will be gone. So I've got my guns loaded. We've got them pointed in the right direction. So we'll put some shots out and hopefully it'll take him out. Yeah, one of my allies got the kill. Fantastic, he's gone. So we see some enemy torpedoes coming in, right? There's nothing a whole lot I can do about avoiding them. I do end up taking one to the stern, but luckily I've avoided taking that second one. So I've got a bit of damage done to me. But now I can kind of see as well that my thoughts that the enemies are most likely A and B. No, it does look like a number of the enemy ships are up here at C, in fact. So the battle is actually happening at C, which is totally odd for this map. You would expect B to be the hot zone right now, but apparently C is. So is what we're going to try and work with. So I do see some enemy cruisers off in the distance, so obviously I've got my armor piercing loaded up and ready to go. The whole idea here is just simply to get some nice quick citadel shots on these enemy cruisers, do a bunch of damage to them and get them gone, so that I can quickly switch over and start focusing the battleships, right? Because we do see a Tirpitz in the distance, so I want to keep that guy in mind, because Tirpitz is a really mean and powerful destroyer, or a powerful battleship rather. I love my Tirpitz, so I don't want to underestimate that Tirpitz, right? You can see as well that I do have some shots going in on this Russian cruiser. At least I believe it's a Russian cruiser, I'm pretty sure it is, and I get a nice citadel hit on him, so that's pretty great. So if we can just keep this up, we might be able to get this cruiser gone, and then I might be able to start focusing down on that Tirpitz, right? At least get some high explosive into him, set him on fire, and at least make him use a repair ability. That is something, right? Enemy cruiser, yeah, not the smartest player in the world, right? You definitely would have turned around, but by this point at least you would think. But you do see that the enemy cruiser is getting in behind some cover right now, right? So we see that island. This is a perfect opportunity for the enemy cruiser to break line of sight, turn around, and just get out of that whole situation. So I clear my barrels of the armor piercing that I have, and I'm loading up my high explosive now to get some shots into the Tirpitz, and I've queued up armor piercing once again because I caught a quick glimpse of that Russian cruiser, and that Russian cruiser is continuing in a straight line. So the whole plan here, we can see him right there, is now that my armor piercing is loaded up, high explosive is on its way for the Tirpitz, so hopefully that'll land, do a bit of damage, so that's not too bad at all, and now I can get a shot of armor piercing off at this enemy Russian cruiser here, hopefully actually take this guy down so we don't have to worry about him anyway, right? Twist again here in the map and the way I thought it was going to go. My team is now capped A, right? We have A. Okay, that's awesome. We are losing B. We're losing B quite badly. However, once we get the control on over some sort of control over here at C, we can then refocus B. So with the falling of that Russian cruiser, that's really the last enemy ship that we had to worry about up here at C. So now is an excellent opportunity. You can see the most of my team as well is recognizing this opportunity, immediately turn south and get ourselves into B, right? Take B back, because the hold on A is not necessarily guaranteed by any means. You can see that the enemies do have a number of ships down there, and we only have maybe one destroyer down there, maybe one or two destroyers, so not necessarily going to be able to hold on to A forever. So if we can get ourselves into B here and take down these enemy ships, this will go a long way to help us win the battle, even though we're leading a lot in points right now, but still. So you can see the enemy battleship off in the distance right now. I have no idea what this enemy Colorado was doing, what was going through this player's mind. Basically just doing a solo push against most of my team, basically my entire team, doing a solo push into B. That is not a good plan, my friend. Not a good plan at all. I have high explosive loaded, obviously, because I'm going to be doing fire damage and whatnot to this guy. I've got lots of battleships in and around me who are going to have their armor piercing loaded up, or at least I hope, to take down the Colorado, and my fires will be there. Now we do see some allied torpedoes on the way for the Colorado, and there they go. They take out the Colorado. So fantastic job by that player who got the kill. And now we can see the Tirpitz once again, right? So this Tirpitz never fully ran away. The Tirpitz player did break line of sight, get in behind some islands, but never made, the player never made, made it all the way down to B and into A, right? Never happened. So we can see the Tirpitz off in the distance, luckily within my range, so I'm immediately going to fire off my high explosive. It was already loaded in the barrels, so I was firing at the Colorado. You can see my team is now capping B, so this is excellent, because we are in fact losing A. So just as I figured, the hold on A wasn't going to last forever, so we're losing A now, but that doesn't matter because we are capping B. The enemies don't have a whole lot of points, actually, so because we've only lost one ship so far. We lost one destroyer, and I believe the one destroyer we lost was the destroyer who went down there and capped A. So no big losses here whatsoever. We have some torpedoes on the way in, but I see them. I'm going to be able to avoid these without any issue, and we do see an American cruiser off in the distance, so immediately start engaging this guy with some armor piercing, just to give this enemy cruiser the good news, right? Now the enemy cruisers bow on to me, so you could definitely make the argument, and it's a valid argument, that at this point in time I should probably be firing high explosive, right? The allied ship, the American cruiser is bow on to me, so chances of me getting some citadels aren't that great. Now that is true, however, this is an Admiral Hipper at tier 8, and I'm fighting against a Cleveland, I believe, at tier 6. So, you know, I could still do a bit of damage. The possibility is there. A greater possibility, in fact, is that I hit turrets and completely knock out a turret, right? That is more likelihood. We see some allied torpedoes on the way in for the Cleveland. It looked good, but that Cleveland captain was all over them. Got the dodge, but unfortunately for the Cleveland captain, he's now presenting, or the player rather, is now presenting broadside. So immediately start putting armor piercing into him, and you can see I'm getting some nice, good, consistent damage, as well as a citadel here and there. So this is not too bad at all. Enemy Cleveland is on fire and being engaged, is on fire and being engaged by all of my allies. So yeah, he didn't have a chance, or rather that player didn't have a chance, and the enemy Cleveland is gone. We have the enemy Tirpitz back once again, right? We see this player off in the distance. I've got armor piercing loaded, so I am going to reload now with more armor piercing. I just wanted to test it, just to see, you know, the amount of damage that could be done. And I know I'm always testing this, and I know it's totally up to, you know, where the shot or where the shells land on the enemy battleship as to how much damage they're actually going to be doing, but I was satisfied. I mean, the Tirpitz is dead anyway, right? There he goes, and yeah, I got the last kill, so that's something. Anyway, battle is over, and we have got the victory. So no real surprise there, but still another stellar game in the old Admiral Hipper here. Now, I didn't finish first overall by any means, because I had a great team behind me, right? We really did some good action there at C and B, so not too bad at all. And you can see as well, even though not top of the team, I do get rewarded appropriately with experience and credits. So moving into the next clip for the day, you can see that I'm in my Kuma. Haven't been in the Kuma for a while, and we're with Exiled Wolf as well, and he is in the Wyoming. Now we're on straight, and obviously on straight in the platoon you usually do spawn down here in the south. The only difference, of course, is that we don't have 3 different cap zones to take in this battle, only the 2 bases, right? So my immediate plan was to actually go up to the north, but then Exiled Wolf was talking, you know, he said that he was going to go down here to the, what is this, southwest, and then once he gets to those little islands, start making his way up to the northeast. So I figured, well, that's actually a pretty good plan, and considering that he's in the battleship and I'm in a cruiser, I should probably stick close to him and help support. So that's going to be my whole objective in this battle here as well. Now you can see, I mean, obviously we're in a tier 4 battle. I believe everything here is tier 4. No, there's some tier 5s, because now that I think about it, there was a New York and a Bogue. So, you know, tier 5 battle, so not too bad at all. Now, obviously, I do really enjoy the Kuma. The Kuma is still my favorite tier 4 cruiser at this point in time. I'm just not a fan of the Phoenix. It's mostly to do with the firing arc of the Phoenix. I really just don't enjoy it. And obviously the Svetlana, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Svetlana, and I am not a fan of the Karl Shrew. So at tier 4, this is the cruiser I'm going to use. On top of, you know, what I would consider just a really fast and maneuverable cruiser at this tier, we do also have some really flexible torpedoes, and that the torpedoes will go 7 kilometers. They have a 7-kilometer range. The torpedoes themselves won't do a whole lot of damage. So for example, if you hit all 4 torpedoes, you know, broadside to an enemy battleship, like a tier 4 or above battleship, you're probably not going to actually take out that battleship. You're going to do a whole bunch of damage, don't get me wrong, but you're probably not going to be able to kill that battleship altogether if, you know, 100% the battleship was at 100% and able to repair the damage right away. But that being said, doesn't mean that the torpedoes are ineffective. The torpedoes are still really nice, and a really nice option actually to have on the Kuma like this. So we do see a poor St. Louis. Now this St. Louis was at half health when I first spotted him. I don't know what went on there. I suspect that it has something to do with some friendly damage, right? I suspect that maybe someone on the team did that to the enemy St. Louis. But anyway, St. Louis is gone. I managed to get the kill because I had fire, and I think I got the last shots in there, and get the first blood on that as well, so that's not too bad, and I'm up to 1 kill. Now we see a second Kuma off in the distance, so immediately I do start engaging this Kuma, and you can see as well on the mini-map that I'm basically doing circles around Exiled Wolf, right? Just staying within Exiled Wolf's firing range, because I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the Wyoming's range is very comparable to that of the Kuma. the Wyoming probably has a little better range, especially, well, not factoring the scout plane, but would probably have a little better range. But still, if I can stay fairly close to Exiled Wolf here, then, we will be able to focus fire down. And Wolf was calling out his targets as well, so I know that he's sees the Wyoming that I just put some shots into, but we are trying to get the St. Louis gone. You can see that Wolf's salvo just went in there, took down a bunch of damage on the St. Louis, and I've got myself a Bogatyr as well in front of me, who is helping us out here on the St. Louis as well. So we should be able to make some quick work of the St. Louis, especially if I can just get a few fires set on him. I really wanted to get some fires set so that he'd go down. And in fact, there's a fire. St. Louis is on really low health, so I'm actually going to switch over to the Wyoming, and my ally Bogatyr takes out the St. Louis. So excellent job by that ally. It's at this point in time as well that Wolf called out that he was now beginning his turn to the north, so obviously I'm going to start turning with him. In the meantime as well, we are all focused on this enemy Wyoming here, trying to get this guy gone. I was actually a little concerned about this because I'm giving a pretty nice broadside to this Wyoming. My saving grace in all this is that the Wyoming is focused on my allied Bogatyr. The Bogatyr is still alive, but once the Bogatyr goes down, he will probably start focusing on me a little more than he has. So I'm going to try and get as many shots into this enemy Wyoming as I possibly can. I do launch off some torpedoes because the Wyoming is now within my range as well, and we can see that the allied Bogatyr is gone. Now, taking a look at the enemy Wyoming's turrets, right, obviously they are turning. What I was looking for is, are they turning towards me or are they turning towards Wolf? It looks as though they are turning towards me because I can pretty much see down the barrels, and what I'm not doing is I'm not paying attention to a second enemy Wyoming, right? So that Wyoming fired at me, took a bit of damage there. I've got some dive bombers coming in, and then here, second enemy Wyoming starts firing at me, right? And that was a big hit there. That took me below 50% health. Obviously, that was a nice little hit for that player as well. So I need to start circling. I need to not give broadsides to these guys. There we go. I do end up hitting the Wyoming with one torpedo, so that's better than nothing. And the enemy Wyoming is now going to be, or rather this enemy Wyoming is now going to be my focus. I'm going to try and finish this player off, hopefully as well with the help of Wolf here, and get this guy gone so that we can then start focusing down on that second enemy Wyoming. There we go. I do manage to set this guy on fire, so that is fantastic. We need that consistent damage over time on this enemy battleship if we do really want to take him down quickly. Wolf just put in another nice salvo into the enemy battleship, and there we go. My fire finishes off the Wyoming, second kill, and we don't have to worry about him. Now we can focus all of our attention on this second enemy Wyoming that got some nice hits on me. I saw the Kirov there briefly, and I thought for a second, oh god, it's a Kirov, I'm going to die. And then I saw all the allied torpedoes go into the Kirov, and that was great. So excellent action there by one of my teammates. Not sure what the enemy Kirov was attempting to accomplish there at all, but luckily we don't have to worry about it anymore. So enemy Wyoming off in the distance, right? So I'm just firing salvo after salvo. I'm doing a full broadside in every salvo here, and it's because the enemy Wyoming is giving me a nice broadside. So hopefully these shells are going to land, hit him, do some nice damage, but more importantly, set him on fire. We do see some torpedo bombers on the way in for Wolf. Now Wolf does end up taking one of those torpedoes, but not that big of a deal really. And as well, Wolf is getting some really nice hits here on this enemy Wyoming as well. So this is fantastic, and that is going a long way to help us actually take down this player. Because really, down here in the south, we only have this enemy Wyoming to deal with, and then there are no other enemy ships down here in the south at all. We could then at that point start capping. So I'm getting at some nice hits here on the enemy Wyoming. Taking a look at my torpedoes, no, the Wyoming's going to go behind the island. I'm not going to be able to finish them off with torpedoes rather. But I did set a few fires. The enemy Wyoming did put out those fires, so we know that the repair is now on cooldown, and we can see that Wolf has more shots coming into the enemy Wyoming here, and I believe he's just about reloaded. We can see some of his shots coming in. There they are there, and doing a bit of damage to the enemy Wyoming. And I managed to set him on fire. Actually, there are Wolf's shots, yes. And Wolf does manage to get the kill on that. So fantastic job there. It's at this point in time, too, that I was trying to figure out, should I just go back, play it safe, and start capping? Or do I want to push my luck and try for a few more kills, a bit more damage? Looking up at my damage counter already, I noticed it's a pretty high, right? We're at about 52,000 damage. Yeah, we're going to push it. We are going to push it. And in fact, one of my teammates there as well types in chat, don't even bother capping, kill them all. So that's what we're going to do. So we see some torpedoes off in the distance that did manage to impact that enemy battleship there, so that's not too bad at all. I believe that that is a New York, so I'm just trying to get into range of this guy. We do have an enemy Kuma who is in our base capping right now. That's who's in our base capping. Now there we go, the enemy New York is now within my range, so I start opening up with my guns, but I do need to be aware of the fact that this is a battleship, right? And I'm on fairly low health here, so I'm going to try to shoot in between the island there, that little cove, the island and the landmass. Try and shoot in between there and start engaging the enemy Kuma. That is my plan. And while I'm moving into position to do this, may as well take some shots off the New York, right? Why not? We do still have Wolf in the background as well. The New York is within his range, so he's lining up shots as well. And you can see that our aircraft carrier is, all over this as well, launching torpedoes, dive bombers at this enemy New York, doing what he can in order to take this guy down. Just checking out my lining, and then all of a sudden New York shells come in and I have to turn. I can't go in a straight line, otherwise I think that would have been a whole lot tragic. Also, as a side note, it saved me from those enemy torpedo bombers. But now my whole plan of shooting the gap in between the island and the landmass is gone. Can't do it anymore. I'm just going to run aground, so I have to go with what I have here, and what I have is an enemy New York in front of me, so I'm going to have to take this guy down. At least, myself and my teammates here, we got to take this guy down. I do start seeing some enemy aircraft carriers popping up as well, just making a mental note of them. I'm not going to switch over to the enemy aircraft carrier just yet. I'm also checking out the Kuma, because I did not want to come out from behind this island here and have the Kuma start pumping away armor piercing at me and getting citadels, right? I'm on really low health. It's not going to take a whole lot to get me killed here. So we saw Exiled Wolf's salvo go into the New York, almost taking the New York out. He's very close to death. So I'm just going to try and get a few last shots into him. Allied shots come in as well. We just need to get this guy down. He's on fire now, so that's fantastic. Some more Allied shots come in. Once we get the New York down as well, then I can start focusing on the enemy aircraft carrier and Kuma. So there we go. Enemy New York is gone, and I'm at my third kill now, so fantastic. Enemy Bogue, so immediately start engaging this guy with my high explosive, right? It's not a higher tier aircraft carrier which has a little better armor, so my high explosives still have a really good chance of penetrating the armor and getting some citadel hits on the enemy Bogue here actually. So I'm engaging the enemy Bogue and I'm pointing my bow towards the enemy Kuma. There's some nice citadel hits on the Bogue. The plan here is to fire at the Bogue until I get really close to the Kuma and then open up with armor piercing. That is my plan. 2 more citadel hits on the enemy Bogue there, a few more salvos into this Bogue and I will have him. I do see the torpedo indicator as well, but luckily I don't have to worry about it, and then all of a sudden this one lone torpedo dive bomber comes in and takes me out. Luckily though, I do manage to get the kill on the Bogue. I also got my high caliber and it's but a flesh wound, yes. So pretty fantastic. So we'll switch over here to Wolf, and as he's finishing off here the last enemy ship, this last enemy Kuma, you can see Wolf had a good game as well. He was basically, we stuck together the whole time right up until the end there. So there we go, enemy Kuma's gone and we have victory. So high caliber, first blood, it's but a flesh wound. I got a few kills, 4 kills, and we'll take a look at the damage here once. Top of the team overall obviously, but the damage is what I was most happy with, right? Well over 100,000 damage there with my Kuma at tier 4, so not too shabby at all. And I mean, it does also just go to show and to reinforce that just with some proper teamwork, communication, it really doesn't matter what tier you're playing at, you are going to do fairly well. Anyway, that is it for me for the video today. As always, leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you were not a subscriber, and as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.